mentor sheet. A lot of them are if you don't get what you need. Yeah, I use a lot of Snapchat. Instagram.
Hey everyone, we are going to get started. Before I start the program, I want to make you aware that we do have refreshments in the back. We have a taco bar right over there by the St. Clair Market. So please help yourself whenever you're hungry, whatever you'd like. So thank you very much for being here today. I want to welcome all the students, the mentors, College Now board members and staff. It's really exciting to have this event. We haven't been able to do this for a couple of years, like a lot of events, and it's great to have you all here this evening. This is the 11th year of our mentoring program, and the inception started with 43 pairs. I have to get my glasses. And this year, we expect to have 1,800 pairs of mentors and students. So it's really come a long way. Through the course of the last 11 years, there's been 3,500 students who have gone through this mentoring program, just like all of you are going to go through, and it's been wildly successful. So the purpose of the event tonight is to make new connections between mentors and students, meet other program participants, facilitate connections and opportunities to network later, some of which at the schools you're attending and within the tables where you're sitting. So really encourage you to get to know each other and spend some time. The other purpose of this evening is to get everybody excited. It's an exciting time of year. How many first-year students do we have here, if I can have a show of hands? Great, well, welcome. And how many are excited about going to school? And how many are nervous about going to school? I'm nervous and I'm not even going to school, but it's good anxiety, take it from me. So to get in the spirit of what awaits you, we're going to hear from a student pair, Kilara and Cheryl, in just a moment. And we're also going to hear from, Kilara is a recent graduate, nursing graduate. We'll also hear from a mentored student pair on their time in the program. But before I introduce them, I thought I would share a little bit about my college experience. And you've probably deduced by now that took place some time ago. But I can still remember how exciting it was to be going off to college. And that anxiety, that good anxiety, meeting new people. I would tell you that feeling of freedom, that I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, was a great feeling. I don't think I've had that feeling ever since, to be honest with you. And I went to Ohio State, and I thoroughly enjoyed my freshman year. And I enjoyed it so much, I ended up on the Dean's List. Does everybody know what the Dean's List is? It's like 3.5 GPA or better, you're on the Dean's List. Unfortunately, I wasn't on that Dean's List. I was on the Dean's List where the Dean writes you a letter and says, if you don't get your priorities in order, you're not coming back next semester. So that's a different kind of Dean's List. And, you know, the challenge at that time for me, Ohio State, this is before it was the Ohio State University. Ohio State at that time really accepted almost anybody for admission. I think if you had your high school diploma, they were required to take you. Today, of course, Ohio State, I believe, is one of the toughest, if not the toughest university to get into in the state of Ohio. So it was a little different experience. And I made a lot of friends. But after my freshman year, 90% of my freshman dorm floor flunked out. So the friends I made, unfortunately, most of them weren't back our sophomore year. So I really had to make some adjustments. In the end, it did work out, and I've been fortunate ever since. And the reason I share that with you is sometimes you'll look at a person like me, and so, you know, this, and I guess I never introduced myself. I'm Mike Kogan. I'm the board chair of college now, and I am the president of Northern Trust here for the state of Ohio. So things have worked out for me, but oftentimes you make assumptions and think, oh, it must have been easy for that guy, so forth and so on. And my experience is everybody is facing their own fair share of adversity. It comes in different ways, and your character is determined by how you respond to adversity. So I think we all struggle in different ways. That was a struggle for me. I was fortunate that I was able to get my priorities in order, and I did finish with a degree in economics. So there were 5 strategies that I developed that I want to share with you briefly tonight that might help you on your college journey. So the first piece of advice I would give you all is show up. And show up means something different today. It can mean showing up virtually or showing up in person. And I'll tell you one more anecdote, which is a little horrifying, but I'll share it with you anyhow. Economics major, I did pretty well in my introductory economics classes, so I had a class called labor economics, and I got used to not always going to the lectures. I would just study the text, and so at the beginning of the semester, the professor would hand out a syllabus which talked about, you know, courses, study text, your midterms, and your final schedule. So after a couple of weeks, I decided, you know, I don't need to go to class. It's kind of boring. And I showed up on the date of the first midterm. And the professor was handing back the midterm. And that was a long, hour-long class as I determined, what am I going to say to this professor? And I can tell you, I'm never good at math, even to this day, but I knew that with 2 midterms and a final, if I took an F on the first midterm, my chances of passing that course were pretty low. So honesty is the best policy. And I told her, I said, obviously, no, I haven't been coming to class. I can, be appreciative of any consideration you would give me. And she let me retake the midterm. I don't know why she did. It violated the principle of if you snooze, you lose. But she let me retake the midterm. And I would tell you that was a scared straight moment of showing up. So that would be my first piece of advice. I really do believe this, whether it's in school or if it's in work, 90% of success is showing up. To be that person that you know is going to be there, you can rely upon, it makes a big, big difference. Second piece of advice would be engaged. Engage with your professors, your teaching assistants. I really didn't do that until my senior year. And I would tell you it's because I was shy, but I think I was just lazy, to be honest with you. And my senior year, I engaged with a professor. He was an accounting professor, wasn't even my major, and we really hit it off. And he wrote a letter that helped me get my first job. He said I have an executive presence, which, believe me, at age 21, that was a bit of a stretch, but it helped me get my first job. And here I am 38 years later, still working in banking and wealth management. So I would say that's very, very important to you. The other thing I would say is, obviously, everybody's been on a Zoom call, right? 3 years ago, none of us knew what a Zoom call was. And so there are some good things that have come out of the challenging times we've been through. And everybody's been on a Zoom call with your camera off, right? Show of hands. Because you like to torture your teacher. Eric, you too, shocking. And it's easy to sit there, your camera off, you're just listening, you're not engaging. And I would tell you that's an opportunity to engage. Turn your camera on, try and ask a question. When you're leading a Zoom call, which I've had to do, it's like a comedian dying on stage. You're not getting any feedback. So there's an opportunity to really be engaged. And I think you'll be the ones that benefit from that if you do that. The third piece of advice I would give you, and I don't think my daughter's here tonight, she's a mentor, but she would roll her eyes when I say this, because I've told her this her entire life. Be the CEO of your own career. So nobody knows what's best for you other than you. And if you take charge of your career starting in college, you'll be better off for that. And I would tell you, all CEOs have advisors. I have an advisory board that I turn to for advice. Lee Friedman, who's the CEO of college now, she has a board of directors that I'm on. I think there's 55 of us, 60 of us that she turns to for advice. And I think you should think about who could be an advisor for you. Could be a professor, could be a high school teacher you're close to, parent, sibling, a friend. Just make sure it's a friend who really is interested in your success. And then what we would say tonight is you're going to meet your mentor, and your mentor is an ideal person to be on your board of advisors. Your mentors volunteered to be here, not being compensated other than maybe a taco. And so they're really here just to be helpful to you. So I can't think of a better person to turn to advice than your college now mentor, and I would encourage you to do that. The other thing that CEOs have is they always have a plan. Usually it's a financial plan, but we talk about plan all the time at my company. We talk about plan at college now, and then we talk about a revised plan halfway through the year. So we're planning, revising, planning, revising. So I didn't have a mentor. My father was very much a mentor to me, and he had a saying and he always said, plan your work and work your plan. And I would encourage you to do that. Plan out what you want to do for the year, for the semester, for the month, for the week, and I think that can really be helpful to you. The fourth item, I would say, don't let the urgent get in the way of the important. And, excuse me. Do you know Kourtney Kardashian is in Cleveland, and she went to Cleveland Vegan last weekend? She was here for the MGK concert. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. Don't let the urgent get in the way of the important. So we really get distracted. It's really hard. I mean, it's not that we can't have fun and pay attention to things, but if you're focused on what's important, you have to be able to filter that out. And I would say, we didn't have cell phones and social media when I was in school. We didn't really have computers. I know that's hard to imagine. The internet hadn't been invented yet, so I don't know what we did, to be honest with you. But the urgent for me back then was every Tuesday night was 50-cent beer night at the bar up on High Street. Now, the drinking age was 18, so I was not drinking on a fake ID. I just want to clarify that. But boy, you know, every Tuesday night, 50 cent, how could you pass that up? Now, why do you think it was 50 cents beer on Tuesday night? Because they were looking for the stupidest students they could find to go out on a Tuesday night, because that clearly was not important. So that's just an example, but I would tell you that that's really something we all struggle with. There's a lot of distractions, but really, if you're focused on your plan and what's important, you know, I think you can filter that out to your own benefit. And the last thing I would say to you is take time to enjoy this journey. Our most famous Clevelander, LeBron, he said, nothing is given, everything is earned. And that's truth. And you're going to find that, you've already found that in your lives. That's going to be a continual theme. You're going to have to work hard for whatever you want academically in life, but you have to enjoy it along the way. Otherwise, it becomes too onerous, especially incoming freshmen. You have to take the time to get to know other students, socialize, keep an eye what's on important, but celebrate the victories along the way. So when you do well on that first midterm that you're not going to skip because you're not going to class, celebrate. And when you write a paper or you speak up in class, you know, take some time to really pat yourself on the back and acknowledge that you're doing the right thing and making progress on your journey. So I hope that wasn't too old-fashioned for you, but those are some tips that I thought would be helpful, that it took me a little while to figure out, but I was glad once I did, and it helped me on my way. So with that, I'm going to ask our first mentor-student pair to come up. So Kilara Agban is a graduate from CSU in May with a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, and she just recently started a position at Fairview Hospital and was telling us that she's working in general surgery in graphic terms, so I don't know if she's going to do that. And she's joined by Cheryl Feeney, who's the Nursing Resource Lab Supervisor at CSU. And Kilara and Cheryl, you were paired in 2018. Great, well, welcome, and I will turn the stage over to you.
Hello. Sorry, he's much taller than I am. So hello, again, my name is Kilara. I am a College Now scholarship recipient, and I graduated from Cleveland State with my bachelor's in the science of nursing. Cheryl Feeney here has been my mentor for the last 4 years, and she was here every single step of the way. And, you know, there's something to say when you get a scholarship, you're told you will have a mentor, and you don't know what to think of that. And it can be really nerve-wracking because not only are you going into college and you're starting this new adult life, and now you're expected to connect with a stranger. You don't know what you're getting into, and it's literally like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. But I got Cheryl Feeney. Cheryl and I instantly hit it off. She was fun, she was outgoing, her energy, her vibes. I mean, she just radiates love, joy, and kindness, and she's just honestly from the core amazing. And I could tell from the moment that I met her that she was just going to be there for me all the time. I also knew that because she did get me a gift and she didn't even know if we would get along. Cheryl has never failed to make me feel heard. Sometimes she may not have known exactly what to say, because I will be honest, I will get really upset when things, you know, don't go my way and the going gets rough, because it's going to get rough. And when nursing school became, you know, paired with a pandemic, I quite literally nearly lost my mind. It was awful. There was nothing in me that wanted to keep going, especially in my nursing journey, because so much of it is hands-on. And when you have to do it online through Zoom, you don't know why you're doing it anymore. So in that, of course, I had felt defeated, and I had called Cheryl, and this is about time, I don't know, 800, 900 that I've called Cheryl saying, Cheryl, I'm going to drop out. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. But I really did mean it that time. And she just listened to me rant on and on and on and on about all these things I just was frustrated about. And she just stopped and asked me, Kilara, why did you go into nursing in the first place? And at that moment, I just remembered back to like being here my freshman year of college and her asking me that question. And I remembered there were a couple of really big moments in my life that really made me feel called to going into the nursing profession. And she reminded me of that. And ever since that day, I realized I'm not going to drop out. I do need to finish, and I'm going to make a difference in this world one way or another, even if the going does get rough. So to all of my new mentor-mentee pairs, first of all, welcome. Second, be open, be receptive. You don't want to shy away from support that's literally handed to you. I know it seems scary to think about letting yourself become somewhat vulnerable and open. And if you can't do that, your mentors aren't going to help you. You're not taking advantage of those resources that you're given. So if I would have stayed quiet and reserved and stuck to the minimum 2 monthly messages and the few meeting opportunities you have to do, it wouldn't have gone well, but I didn't, we didn't. And there are so many opportunities that really can arise from staying connected with your mentors, and especially that come from the field of study you're in. And it will amaze you. It really is a small world, and networking is very, very important. And college now quite literally does half the battle for you and pairs you with someone in your profession. So now you get the chance to make of it what you want it to be. So truly just let it happen and stay open, and it really can change your life. So now I get the pleasure of calling Cheryl Feeney one of my good friends, and I will continue to talk and meet with her even after all these last 4 years together. And I feel so blessed to have had College Now pair me up with her. My college experience would not have been nearly as great as it was without Cheryl Feeney. I mean, guys, we carpooled here. That's how close we are. Okay, in case you're wondering. And then I just wanted to add in a few extra things here. So if you can be really awesome with your mentor, we did end up on WKYC Channel 3 News. They were like super excited for us, and they wanted to like hear about our relationship. So there's your goals. They're here. Let's do that. And second of all, in this new age, as Mike was saying, with phones and social media and computers, if you ever get a time where you have to send an email or some type of Word document to anyone you know, like specifically teachers, professors, anyone at College Now, make sure you don't send it from your phone, because it'll look like this, and you'll literally be able to read it from the back. Guys, this is 4 pages long. It's only supposed to be half a page. So use your laptops. Your resources are your #1 best friend. Thank you.
Hello, in case you didn't know, I'm Cheryl Feeney. And most people call me Cheryl Feeney. People don't just call me Cheryl. I don't know, it must just flow. But I'm a College Now mentor. I'm Clara's College Now mentor. How did I become a mentor? I had a colleague that I worked with at Mentor Health who was a mentor, and she's like, hey, they need mentors. You'd be good at it. You should do it. And so I signed up. And I was really nervous about becoming a mentor to a student who was the same age as my daughter, because being a mentor and being a mom, very hard to separate that. And I'm a little bit of a control freak. But Clara broke me of that pretty easily. So I was concerned how would she accept me, thinking because I'm more like her mom. And when I met her, I had, as soon as I got to my car afterwards, I called my husband and told him, I said, everybody says that I'm bubbly and energetic. And I said, Clara is the same times 10. And he said, oh boy, here we go. But it's a very positive thing. And she was a great challenge to me. And I have to tell you, we wrote our little speeches not together. We didn't tell each other what we wrote. And I wrote mine, she wrote hers. We sent them to each other. And it was very interesting when we read each other's. Because one of my most profound moments with Clara in our relationship was when I felt that she really was going to drop out. And it was like that 800th time that she called me. And I said, she said it a million times before, but I thought this sounds like it's legit. So I did. I said, why? We always have to remember our why. Why did we start in the first place? And you can't forget your why you start in the first place. And I was sitting in my car when we were having this conversation. And for the first time, I think Clara was at a loss for words. And there was radio silence on the phone for a few seconds. And I said, well, just think about it. Think about your why, figure it out, call me back. And she did. And and decided she was going to focus on her why and keep going, because it was very hard. It's very hard to be in nursing school, any school. It's very hard with the pandemic and being on Zoom. So my suggestions to the mentors is hopefully you can be very readily available to your mentees, because that was a huge component for Clara and I. Because when your mentee is having a crisis in their eyes, they need to talk to somebody. And I'm very fortunate that I was able to respond in a timely manner with her quickly when she needed some encouragement. And because I'm a nurse and she was in nursing school, it made it kind of easy. When we got paired, I didn't work at Cleveland State. I retired from Metro Health and went and worked at Cleveland State, and she was going there. So it was kind of interesting. It was like a match made in heaven. And this way it'll help them get on track, and you can use the phrase, remember your why, and then maybe that will help them a little bit. Being Clara's mentor has definitely enhanced my personal and my professional life. She's helped me how to learn to be more patient. She's definitely not like my children. I have a 25-year-old as of today and a 21-year-old the same age as Clara. So she kept me on my toes. She learned to help me to learn to be patient, to really listen to when somebody's talking, and it helped me to be a better mom too. And to be more empathetic to listening to a student, because having her as my mentee and then going into the academic world, I had to really like sit back and listen to remember what it felt like to be a student. And that was kind of a long time ago for me too. And I was trying to remember what we did before computers, and it was in the library with the Dewey Decimal System, looking at the cards, finding your books, buy your books. Okay. That's a whole nother soapbox. Let's see. Let's see. I know that Clara is going to make a difference in the profession of nursing, and hopefully in many lives, and which hopefully will help change the world a little bit. And I don't think that one of the questions that we were posed to maybe talk about was if there was something that I knew differently at the beginning, or I could have done different. And I can't think so, because I can't think of something because everybody's journey is a little bit different. So just get to know your mentee, get to know your mentors. Clara said, rely on them, talk to them. They're here for a reason. They are here because they want to be here. Nobody's paying them to be here. They really want to help you. So rely on them. And I think being your authentic self, because Clara and I were definitely our authentic selves with each other. And we know a lot about each other, and that really helped. And I think that's probably the biggest reason why it worked. There was no holds barred. We just did, let each other know who we were. And I think that helped a whole lot. And I think that we've gone from a mentor-mentee relationship to a colleague relationship now, and we're going to be lifelong friends. So it was a great experience. I'm taking a year off though from being a mentor, just because I have other things going on, but I most definitely will be back because it's very exciting. That's it. Thank you.
Right, well, let's have another round of applause for Clara and Jeremy. Clara is going to stay on stage with us. I'm sorry, Clara. Yes, sit over here. And I'd like to invite our other student panelists to the front. We just had an amazing reflection, insight into our mentoring relationship, and now we would like to give you some insight into college specifically. So our students who are part of the panel, please come join us on stage. We are very excited to offer this to you folks in the audience, whether you are a freshman student just starting school, whether you are further into your own college journey, always something to be learned from our peers' experience as well. So I'm going to ask our panelists to introduce themselves. And Clara, why don't we start with you while I get the microphone.
Hello, I'm Clara. I graduated from Cleveland State University with my Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. And I currently work at the Cleveland Clinic at Fairview Hospital as an OR nurse currently.
Oh, hello, everybody. My name is Juan. I graduated from Tri-C. I am currently a Say Yes Scholar, and I am going to go to the next college. I'm not sure if Baldwin Wallace or Walsh University, but I hope I decide by next week.
Let us know where we should send your scholarship on.
I will.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kyla Koch. I'm a physics and math double major at Walton Wallace University. Go Jackets. I am a sophomore with junior academic standing because I have transfer credits from Lorain County Community College.
Okay, so as you can see, everyone, we have some pretty brainy folks up here tonight to share with you. And we met previously and had a few conversations, but we thought we would highlight a few of our takeaways for you all tonight. I'm going to ask you all to open with, encapsulate your college experience so far in maybe 5 words or less. So Kyla, can you take it away?
Yeah, so I would say my first year at university was a wake-up call. It is very different from high school, very different from doing college credit plus. You are solely responsible for your success. The classes are much, much harder, especially coming out of pandemic, and now you're in person, you have to get up and you go to class. Now you have the option of, oh, I can sit in bed. I don't have to go. Mom's not going to wake me up. Nope. You got to get up. You have to find the motivation. Maybe it's how much you're paying out of pocket or something, but you got to get up and go. It's tough, but you are responsible for your success.
Great, thank you. Juan, do you just want to go down the line?
Sure. So just to start with, you're no longer a kid. Let's just put it that way. That was the worst thing that I had to find out in my life. You go to college, now you're an adult. So the first year was not easy at all. I will say I am thankful for my mentor, Mr. Curl over here, that he did a lot, as I said, as teacher earlier with costs and everything. And honestly, it's not easy. It's not easy, and it gets harder by the semester. But just think at the end, you're gonna have something. You're gonna have, your diploma, your degree. You can go out and do what you want and what you love. And just think the reason why you started, and that's what's gonna really get you to the end. I mean, I've been wanting to drop out over 80 times by today, and I have great friends and have told me no, and my mentors and family. But the hardest part is that it's never gonna get easier. That's probably the hardest of it, but eventually will.
So for me, I would say it was stressful, challenging, but like in a really good way, like the kind where like you're pushed harder and you really get to like see your limits. I would say rewarding, because nothing's more rewarding than when you walk across the stage after they say your name at graduation, which you will all do because we're all going to be successful. It's all, yes, exactly. Yes. You're going to make it far. So believing in yourself. And then I would say most of all, your surroundings, making sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people, because that will make or break your college experience.
So when we did chat earlier, Kyla, you mentioned, you shared an anecdote about how you maybe went through a period of time where you weren't sure about your major. Actually, Juan, Pilar, you all shared that. But Kyla, can you share a little more with the group about how did you really come back to what you needed out of college? When you had second thoughts, how did you push through that?
I would say I pushed through it. So the biggest hurdle was support with what my major is. I'm doing physics and math. Some people in my family said, oh, you might as well be an engineer, because you go to college for 4 years and you come out going directly into a career, makes a lot of money. Just do that. I remember being in physics. I spent most of the pandemic reading physics books, locked up in my room. I knew I wanted to go into theory. I wanted to be at the board doing the math. And it's what got me up in the morning. It's what I spent all day doing, and it's what I love today. I spent my whole internship this past summer at chalkboards at the College of Worcester doing math, and those were my favorite days. But it was a big hurdle in classes, in physics classes at the university level. They were tough. I had a very difficult professor he was a tough love professor. He was, I'm going to make you hate every second of this, but it's because I love you. But sometimes you need that consulting with supportive family that there for you when they support your endeavors. And my biggest anecdote that my mom gave me was that do what you love and it'll all work out in the end. And it is definitely working out in the end.
Thank you, Kyla. And actually on that theme of family and love, whether it's love from your family, from your support network, from your professors, you all up here shared with me your first generation in some form or fashion. And, you know, Juan, you shared a personal story about that and how you connected to that. So would you mind sharing for the group here tonight, how has your experience as a first gen student been?
Yes, absolutely. So I am a first generation student in what you might call the motherland. My sister and my mother are both, my mother has a doctorate in medicine. My sister has her master's in criminal justice. In Puerto Rico, sadly, they don't work in the United States for some odd reason. So in the United States, I'm a first generation student. It's been hard, you know, going into a different setting. Puerto Rico setting of college is way different than the United States. And coming in, but you have the support. I mean, as a first year student, there are so many opportunities, even that it's hard. You have college now. If you're graduated from Cleveland schools, you have the Say Yes scholarship and the Say Yes mentors. You have all the advisors. And being a first generation student, you have so much. There's scholarships and it doesn't end with opportunities. So I always say, take advantage of the opportunities you have. And as a first generation student myself here in the US, I think that I can just, you know, make it. And I'll be the first one from my siblings, like, you know, my younger siblings graduating. So it's like, wow, I can be an example to other people and I can be a good figure to look up to and stuff like that. So just think about that. And being the first gen is a great opportunity for everybody, for sure.
Thanks, Juan. Clara, you were pretty open earlier too about your challenges in college, not thinking you'd necessarily make it through sometimes, having those doubts. College is definitely challenging in many ways, but if you could comment a little bit on the supports that you found, maybe outside of the mentoring program, you know, through campus, through the community, what kind of helped you make those connections and keep going?
So aside from my mentor over here, you know, the famous Yogi, it's really just about finding people. I mean, I was really involved in my community in general. I volunteered a lot at my church. So I had a lot of people knowing the profession that I was going into. And from the get-go, I mean, when you tell someone what degree you're going into, you're going to get that typically it's an instant judgment. And they're going to say, oh, wow, really? Like, do you really think that's a good idea? Why would you do that? Or you're going to get the, wow, that's so cool. You're going to do so great. That's amazing. I could totally see you doing that. So those are the people you talk to. Those are the people you talk to. And you learn that very, very quickly because not everyone wants to see your success, unfortunately. But when you find the people that do, you stick close to them and they become your really good friends. I was also very connected with my advisors. More so in high school, like my freshman year, I did get to talk a couple times briefly with my high school advisors because they were a huge support system for me. And then my family was also really, really big. I mean, I'm also first generation. My parents immigrated from Egypt, and I knew that I felt like that sense of responsibility to be successful for them. And just being able to tell them like, hey, Mom, I saw this really cool thing at clinical today. She was always so excited and always encouraging. And knowing that I have all these people, and you do too, you have all these people, you may feel alone, but you're not. You have all these people behind you that really want to see you succeed. And sometimes you kind of got to step back and you got to look at that, because if you don't realize the supports that you have, or you don't try to find the support that you need because you need it, it's going to be hard. So I was really grateful that I was able to make those connections and talk to those people that really did want to see my success.
Okay. Thank you so much for those continuing to inspire us words. And I'm going to go a teeny tiny bit off script and ask you a slightly different closing question, but I think maybe of interest to the room. You are all extremely brainy, extremely busy. You have jobs, you have internships, you have family commitments, you are involved on campus. How do you balance everything and stay sane? And I know we had a long conversation about this when we met. So just briefly, if you could each comment for me on that to close, you know, help our incoming freshmen, help our continuing students understand, you know, time management is so important. How do you do it and stay sane and healthy? Kylie, do you want to?
I guess I'm thrown under the bus. So honestly, with me, I work 4 different jobs. I did all the activities in college. I ran part of the Gender Equality Alliance for Tri-C. I work closely with Say Yes. I did this mentoring program. And again, I have 4 other jobs on top of all this. But I think balancing it all is don't be me. Do what you can, don't overdo yourself. If you feel then maybe a part-time job works during college, listen, if you can still live with mom and dad until as much as you can, take advantage of it. You know, just don't overdo yourself. Do what you can and don't be one. Just think about that every time you want to do other things you cannot add to your list. Don't be one. Just don't do everything you can. Do what you can to help and support and what you like to do, but don't overdo yourself for sure.
We should say, don't be one and that don't overextend yourself, but be the excellence that one embodies.
For me, I also volunteered a lot. I did have a job. Nursing school is very time consuming. So for me, it's all about prioritizing. And I think that's probably my best word of advice is definitely prioritize things in your life. I know right now it seems like, which I mean, it's freshman year. You think, it's your party year. You're going to go out with your friends and you're going to, get lit. Woohoo. But don't forget you have to study because that takes time. And when it's time to put in your work schedule, give yourself some leeway. I mean, your first week is not going to be as easy as you think it is. I mean, it's going to be the orienting stuff, but give yourself some time. I mean, you definitely need you time because if you don't give yourself that time to reflect after, that big exam or that really long lecture or that just like exhausting thing you had to do for work, you're not going to know what you even think of yourself, your time, your energy, and it's going to get really exhausting. So definitely being able to prioritize. I mean, for me, my family was huge. I always wanted to be around my family. I have a little 8-year-old brother. He's like my best friend, and I always wanted to hang out with him, even though I was in college for 4 years. I tried to go home as much as I could, but at the same time, I wanted to volunteer and like make good use of my time. So I would volunteer at church on Sundays and teach some little kids. And when I had a day where like I had nothing planned, guess what I did? Absolutely nothing, because it's okay to do literally nothing sometimes. Don't overdo that part, but definitely give yourself time and know your priorities, and priorities can change and that's okay. Just be flexible. Don't set yourself to like this hard, strict schedule because you want to be flexible. You want to be able to do the things you enjoy because it doesn't always have to suck. So that's my advice.
My advice for balance would be to just know your limits. This past year, I suffered the consequences of that a little bit. I'm definitely an overworker and I was a WAN. My first semester it was okay. I had a solid GPA, and because I could handle that, I was like, oh, then I can do all these other things. I can tutor. I can take this class that I haven't met the prerequisite for. I can take 17 credit hours. I can also be the president of this club. No, you can't do it all. You'll be miserable. I started pulling all-nighters once a week, and then I bombed a class. Now I'm suffering the consequences of that a little bit, but I got 3 years. It'll be all right. But just know how much you can handle. So my change this upcoming year is that I'm limiting myself to about 3 extracurriculars, and that's all I can do.
Only 3.
Yeah.
Well, let's offer our panelists a big round of applause. Students here before you or recent graduate, but please feel free to come make some connections with our panelists, with each other in the networking portion. So please come find each other and continue these conversations. These are so important. Again, so much to learn from our peers and those who have just trod the path in front of us. So thank you again, panelists. Really, really appreciate you. Another round of applause. I'm now going to invite Kathy to join me on the stage. And Cassie is manager of pedagogy at the Cleveland Playhouse. And Cassie works to ensure all education staff and community partners are trained in trauma-informed and restorative practices that best support the artistic work and programming happening across the Cleveland community. Quite a role, and we are so grateful to her for joining us tonight. Cassie is going to lead us in some group icebreakers, so get ready. Some of these might be familiar to students in the audience who have worked with the Cleveland Playhouse in your schools, so we hope you will help us kind of lead the way on what to do and how to engage with some of these. So thank you so much, Cassie.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to come out a bit. I am a theater educator, so I'm a mover. I move. We're going to get up and move a little bit, hopefully. I have 2 icebreakers for us. And let me first I know if you hear Cleveland Playhouse or theater, there are some people in the audience who instantly just cringe, performing. That idea is not for you, and I get it. So no one's going to be performing solo, acting out monologues or anything like that. But our first activity will be a kind of on your feet if you are able and choose to get up. And then we'll have a bit of an icebreaker that involves some creative drawing at our tables. So for our first game, it's called Stop and Go. It's used to kind of break the ice. It's when we use theater, and especially within our programs at Cleveland Playhouse in our educational settings, we're looking at how do we utilize theater as a vehicle to build relationships and to foster community, because theater is about storytelling. It's about expressing emotions, identifying emotions in other, and getting to know one another. And so that's what we do. And it's a lot of playing games, but that's how we learn. And when we're kids, we learn that way. And as adults, we still learn a lot through play and through relationships. So feel free to be a little goofy, let a little loose if you're able to. So for our first game, in a moment, I will ask folks who want to stand. You're free to find some space near you, or even just pushing in your chair. You don't need a whole lot of space. Honestly, if you can take a few steps one way, take a few steps the other, you'll have room to do what we need to do. If you prefer to stay seated, you can participate as well, and we'll just adjust some of our movements so you have the ability to join in from your seat as well. So with Stop and Go, if you've ever played Simon Says, it's kind of like that, but elevated. There are a few commands that I'm going to shout out. So when I say go, everybody can just walk. And if that's just a few steps here, a few steps there, totally fine. When I say stop, everyone will freeze, and I shouldn't see any movement. So you want to try to stay as frozen as possible. If I say clap, everybody will clap one time. Can we practice clap? Beautiful. See, you already know how to play. If I say jump, you can do one jump up. If jumping is not comfortable or doable for you, you may just make the arm motions like you're jumping. Okay, so when I say jump, you just do one jump. Okay, hands up, we put our hands up. Hands down, we put our hands down. This sounds easy, yes? You get it? I'm gonna make it tricky, but we're gonna start out with a warm up, okay? So if you feel comfortable and able, you may push in your chair, find a space. If you would like to remain at your seat, just do the motions, like a walking motion, a jump motion, and all that from your seat. However you feel comfortable to engage. And I'm gonna say, clap once if you can hear my voice. Clap twice if you can hear my voice. Thank you. What a great group of students. All right, so when I say go, we're going to introduce some emotions, because when we feel different ways, we move different ways. And how I move when I'm anxious or when I'm scared is going to look different than how you move when you're anxious or you're scared. So whatever that means to you, however you want to show it, that's how you show it. So when I say go, I want everybody to walk like they are nervous. Ready? Go. Stop. Go. Stop. Clap. Hands up. Hands down. Hands up. Hands up. I always trick people on that one. Hands down. All right, when I say go, I want you to walk like you just received really good news. Ready? Oh, I didn't say go. I didn't say go. Okay, go. Lovely, lovely. Stop. All right, hands up, hands down, jump, clap, clap. All right, I think this is too easy. We're gonna change it up. We're gonna make our brains work a little bit. So we're gonna start to do some opposites. It's gonna get like, there's like an itch in your brain that you need to scratch. So we're gonna just like hone in, pay attention as best we can. To start, we're only going to reverse, make 2 of the commands opposite. Everything else will remain the same. So now, if I say clap, you're going to jump. If I say jump, you have to clap. So let's just get it in our muscle memory, okay? So this is just practice. Clap, clap, jump, jump. Okay, we worked it in. So this is like the honor system because this is way bigger than my normal classes, let's be honest. So if you mess up, just feel free to go ahead, take a seat, and we'll slowly start to build up and have eliminations, okay? So raise your hand if you're competitive, anybody? Okay, I'm not alone in that. I get very competitive, so I see you. So again, everything else, exact same. Clap means jump, jump means clap. Got it? All right, when I say go, I want you to walk like you are sleepy. Ready? Go. Stop. Hands up. Hands down. Jump. Gave you a hint. Okay, clap. Good. Hands up. Hands down. All right, we're gonna change it up some more. All right, hands up means hands down. Oh, I know, the itchy part, like this part of your brain, you're just like, it's already hurting. Hands down is up, up is down. So we'll just practice. Hands up, hands down, hands down. Ooh, ooh, hands up. Okay, so stop and go still means the same, but jump means clap, clap means jump, hands up is down, and up, down. You got it. I don't have it, but you got it. I have faith in all of you, okay? If you mess up, go ahead and take a seat and we'll keep going. So when I say go, I would love for you to walk as if you were very proud of yourself. Ready? Go. Stop. Go. Stop. Clap. Clap. Jump. Jump. Hands down. Hands up. Hands up. Hands down. Oh, hands up. When I say go, I want you to walk like you are running late. Ready? Go. Stop. Jump. Clap. I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit, okay? Hands up. Hands down. Hands down. Hands up. Jump. Clap. 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 Jump. Hands down. Oh, okay. Can we give a round of applause to those standing? Congratulations. And to everybody. Great job there. Just going to check our time. Perfect, perfect. All right. Thank you so much, first of all, for participating, for getting a little silly. That opportunity even to express some of those emotions visibly and get those emotions out of our body is a really wonderful thing. And it's fun to just play and be silly again. So I appreciate that. I have one more activity. And for those who can't see in the back, this is top secret. Okay, this is called Difference of Artistic Opinions. Okay. I'm going to need somebody to be our artist up here on stage. There is a secret drawing within this folder, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes to get everyone in the audience, the artist here, to draw what is on this paper. However, it's only through shapes, and you could say size, or you could say in the center of the page, you draw a circle. Above that circle, you draw a triangle. So if it's a tree, I can't say you draw a tree branch. I can't say what it is. I can only tell them through shapes and size and maybe a location on the page. Okay, do I have anybody who wants to be our designer to tell the artist? Yes, come on up, friend. Give her a round of applause. Thank you, thank you. So for those in who are our artists here, in your program, there's a square, I believe on the second or first page when you open it, and there should be pens on your table. So you will be listening your best. Again, interpret whatever the artist is telling you to draw as best you can without asking questions. Just however, what it means to you, draw it, and we'll see how it goes. Come on over here. All right, this is your drawing. You're gonna get them to draw. Okay, so you can say shapes. You could say like draw one bigger and then a smaller one here, but you just can't say what any of this is. Yes. Now they only have a little square. You have so it won't be this big. They just have a half size square, okay? I'm gonna give you 2 minutes, so you have some time pressure, all right? Our artists are ready? Yes, all right, go ahead, designer.
Okay, so draw a circle in the middle, upper middle of your square. Then a bigger one outlining that circle. Okay, so, and then I'm gonna draw a rectangle on the bottom of the outer circle. Too many hand movements. I'm gonna give y'all hints. Okay, and then two smaller rectangles on the sides of the one I told you to draw at the bottom. One on each side. And then on the smaller rectangles, to draw a circle on the bottom of it. Okay, and then draw two other circles in the middle portion of the middle rectangle next to each other. Okay, and now we're gonna move back up to the top of the circle, the inner circle. You're gonna draw two circles in the middle and a triangle in the middle of the middle circle. Okay, almost done, I promise. And then two circles on the top right and left of the middle circle, but like also on the outside. They're like in that place. And then another little circle in that one. Okay, okay. Okay, and then at the bottom of that triangle in the middle of the face, make it like this. Okay, just draw upside down Y. Hopefully it looks good.
That's gonna be our time.
I trust you guys.
First of all, a round of applause for our designer in this pressured job. Thank you so much. It may be hard to see from in back. First, go ahead, you can share your drawing at your table, this beautiful artistic abstract artwork. This is what she was getting you to draw, a little lion, a geometric lion. And I love this exercise because it shows even with her best intention to communicate this idea and your best intention to listen and follow through, there can still be miscommunications. And it doesn't mean that things, people don't care or things go wrong. It just means we got to come back to the drawing board, give ourselves some more time and work on this together. Thank you so much for playing along with me. I so appreciate your time.
Thanks, Cassie. That was wonderful. Another hand for Cassie. So we're now transitioning to the final portion of our evening, and that's networking. So there's two ways to engage. If you're here with your mentor and student, we'd ask that you stay at your table, and you can find on pages 3 and 4 of your program prompts to start a conversation and get to know each other. And there's also a mentoring program relationship agreement. If you are not here in a pair, what we'd ask is that you proceed to the back of the event center and find your school or your type of school. And you'll meet others who share that connection, and there's conversation prompts back there that to kind of get things going. So before starting this, I just want to once again thank our students and wish you the best of luck on the beginning of your journey. And certainly thanks to all the mentors for giving your time for this very worthwhile enterprise that you're about to begin with your student. Also want to thank our College Now board members and staff that are here today. Really appreciate your time, and members of the community. And I would ask you, I think you're going to get an email after the event to complete a survey. I know we had a great panel. We had great activities by Cassie. So, give us your opinion. Feel free to grab more refreshments in the back. The taco bar looks really good. And now I would say, thanks so much for coming. Start your networking and best of luck. Have a good evening. And we concluded second, please.